Hey, I'm Tristan from the band Morning Sun, and today I'm going to teach you how to play our song Spending Time from our debut EP. This song is in standard E tuning. I thought the best way to teach you this song would be to play the part up to speed to show you what it sounds like, and then break it down and tell you exactly which fret on which string I'm playing. The first section of this song, after the piano intro, is the main theme of the song and will be repeated several times throughout. This is what it sounds like up to speed. To start this section off, we're going to play 5 on the A string, hammer on to 7, and then slide up to 9. This puts our hand in a position to be able to play 7 on the D string with our index finger, and then use our ring finger to play 9 on the G string. Then we're going to play 9 on the B string. We're going to hammer on to 10 and pull back off to 9. Then we're going to play 9 on the G string, 11 on the G string, 9 on the G string again, and then we're going to play 11 on the D string, and while we hold 11 on the D string, we're going to play 9 on the G string again, like this. Then we're going to play 9 on the D string and slide down to 7. So all together, this should sound like this. The second half of the main theme is pretty much the same as the first half, up until this point. So you'll play that part, and then you'll play this. What that is 12 on the E, 10 on the E, 9 on the E, 12 on the B, 10 on the B, 9 on the B, and then 9 on the G. So all together, it'll sound like this. And I usually let those two notes ring out together because when I play that walk down, I'm barring the last 3 strings on the 9th fret. Now let's talk about the first verse of the song. Up to speed, it sounds like this. When coming out of the main theme, I added a couple transition notes to help go into the first verse a little smoother. So instead of finishing that walk down lick on 9 on the G string, you'll play 9 on the B string an additional 2 times and then hammer on to the 10, like this. Then we'll slide up to 14 on the B string. Then we'll play 12 on the E, 16 on the E, 14 on the B again. Then we'll start a short arpeggio run with 16 on the D string, 18 on the G, 17 on the B, 16 on the E, and hammer on to 17 on the E. Then from 17 on the E, we're going to slide up to 21 on the E. Then we're going to play 19 on the B and slide down to 17 on the B. So far we have then from 17, we're going to slide down to 5 on the B string, and then actually play that note. Then we'll slide from 5 on the E to 7 on the E, and then play 4 on the E. Then we're going to take that same shape that we ran with that arpeggio, starting up here on the neck, starting on 4 on the D string, then 6 on the G, 5 on the B, 4 on the E, and 5 on the E. Then we're going to slide up to 9 on the E. Then we're going to play 7 on the B. And this is one of my favorite parts of this song. While we're holding 7 on the B, we're going to play the open E string and let them ring out together. The trick, as you can see, is arcing your finger enough to let both strings ring together. If you're touching that E string, it's not going to ring out. And it's very important to get that dissonance there. Directly after the first verse comes a short transitional section. This is what it sounds like up to speed. To start this section, we're going to play 12 on the E twice and hammer on to 16 on the E. Then we'll play 14 on the B, 17 on the E twice and slide up to 19. Then we'll play 19 on the B. Then we're going to play (16) on the B twice and hammer on to 17. 12 on the B, 14 on the B, slide or play 16 on the B again and slide up to 17, and then play 10 on the B. So all together slowly, it should sound like this. And that will lead us into the next main section of the song. The next part of the song we're going to go over, we're going to split up into two parts. The first part is going to be the main melody of this section, and the second part is going to be the harmony that's overlain over the top of the main melody after playing the main melody twice through. This is what the main melody sounds like up to speed. To start the main melody, we're going to play 9 on the E string twice and hammer on to 10. Then we're going to play 7 on the B string, 8 on the B string. Then we're going to play 5 on the E string and slide up to 7, and then play 5 again. The second time around, we're going to do pretty much the same thing, but instead of sliding back down to 5 and playing that note, we're just going to, after we slide from 5 to 7, we're going to stay on 7. You'll play this complete progression 4 times through for this entire section. After twice is when the harmony comes in, and we'll take a look at that right now. To start the harmony of this section, we're going to play 12 on the E string twice and hammer on to 14. Then we'll play 10 on the B, 12 on the B, Then we'll play 9 and slide up to 10 on the E, and then we'll play 9 again. And just like in the first part of this section, the second time around, instead of going back to 9 after we slide up to 10, we're just going to stay on 10. And this harmony again comes in after 2 times of the first main melody. Let's move on to the next section. For this part of the song, we're going to be working through a series of arpeggiated chords. There are 4 of them in total. The first chord is going to consist of an open E string. Then you'll put your middle finger on the 9th fret of the A string, your index finger on the 7th fret of the D string, your ring finger on the 9th fret of the G string, and your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. And you just want to play it through like this. And then you'll strum the chord in this pattern. So slowly. And then we'll do the exact same thing with the next chord. The next chord, you just shift your pinky down to the 9th fret of the B string. You have your ring finger still anchored on the 9th fret of the G string. And then you just bar the 7th fret on the A and D strings. So, and you want to still include that open low E string as well. So that's what the chord will sound like. The next chord, both the E and the A strings are open, and then you want to place your index finger on the 4th fret of the D string, your ring finger on the 6th fret of the G string, and your middle finger on the 5th fret of the B string. And then the last chord, you're still going to have an open E and A. And then you're going to lift up your middle finger and bar the D string, G string, and B string on the 2nd fret, and then put your ring finger on the G string 4th fret. So all together, slowly, this section should sound like this. And you'll repeat that entire progression twice through, and then the next section of the song starts. For the next section, you'll play the main melody of the song twice through, and then end on a chord to give a little bit of a break before we move into the second verse. This is what the chord sounds like. And this is how to play the chord. It's 9 on the G string and 10 on the B string. Now we'll move on to the second verse. This is what it sounds like up to speed. We're going to start by playing 7 on the G string, 5 on the B string, 5 on the E, and hammering on from 5 to 7, Then we're going to play 7 on the B and bend it up and down twice to reach this pitch. Then we're going to come down to 12 on the A string and slide down to 9. Then play 7 on the A string and hammer back onto 9. This next little run is a little bit tricky because it's a little fast, so you have to catch some of the notes on upstrokes. So the run starts by playing 7 on the D string, hammering onto 9, and sliding up to 11. Then we'll play 9 on the G string, 11 on the G string, 10 on the B. Then we'll play 9 on the E, hammer on to 10, and pull back off to 9. And this is where you'll want to start your upstrokes, just to achieve maximum efficiency so you can hit all these notes. You'll do an upstroke for 10 on the B, 11 on the G. So far we have. And then you'll want to hit 11 on the D and do a quick slide to 12 and then back to 11. And then you want to play 9 on the D and hammer back onto 11. So altogether that run sounds like this. The next section of this verse is going to start out by playing 5 on the A string, hammering on to 7 and sliding up to 9. Then we're going to play 7 on the D and slide back down to 5. Then we're going to catch a double stop type technique. We're going to play 6 on the G and slide up to 7. Then play 7 on the B. So play 7 on the G again, 6 on the G, 4 on the G, 6 on the G, 7 on the G, 6 on the G, 4 on the G. Then there's a short rest, and you'll descend in that pattern again from 7 on the G, 6 on the G, 4 on the G, 6 on the G, 7 on the G, 6 on the G, and then 4 on the G. And then at the end of this part, we're going to land on 5 on the D. Then we're going to do that short little run again. So 7 on the G, 6 on the G, 4 on the G, 6 on the G, 7 on the G, 6 on the G, 4 on the D this time. So that little run, you're just redirecting your landing spots essentially. So altogether, that should sound like this slowly. And that repeats twice, the exact same way for the second verse. Let's move on to the next section. For this part, we're going to run through a series of 8 chords, 4 of which we've already talked about. The first chord we're going to play starts with your ring finger on the 11th fret of the D string. And then you're going to bar the 9th fret of the G, B, and E strings. But then we're going to put our pinky on the 11th fret of the E string. And that's the first chord. For the second chord, we're just going to lift our pinky up. That's why barring the last 3 strings are important to make that transition easier. And then we're going to slide that same shape down 2 frets. And then we're going to put our pinky on the 9th fret of the E string. And then we are going to go to this shape that we talked about earlier in the video with our middle finger on the 9th fret of the A string, our index finger on the 7th fret of the D string, our ring finger on the 9th fret of the G string, and our pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. And then we're going to go to the chord that is directly after that. The first round we did this chord. So we're going to play 7 on the A, 7 on the D, 9 on the G, 9 on the B. And then we're going to come down here to this chord. We're kind of reversing the order of the last 2 chords. And we're going to have an open A, 2 on the D string, 4 on the G string, 2 on the B string. And then we're going to go up to this chord. We're going to have an open A, 4 on the D, 6 on the G, 5 on the E. I'm sorry, 5 on the B. And then we're going to repeat that progression. So slowly, it should sound like this. You'll run through that progression of those chords twice, and then we'll move into the outro section of the song that starts off by playing the main theme again. That part, just for reference. And then after doing that twice, we are going to move into a section that has a 2-part harmony. So we're going to split that harmony up into 2 different sections to show you how they interact together. So let's take a look at the main melody of the ending harmony. To start the main melody of the ending harmony section, we're going to play 5 on the A string, hammer onto 7, and slide up to 9. Then we're going to play 7 on the D. Then we're going to play 9 on the G twice. Then we're going to play 5 on the A string, hammer onto 7, slide up to 9, and play 7 on the D string, 9 on the G string again, and then play 6 on the G string. Then we're going to do the first part again. And then we are going to do the second part again. And then to end this section, we're going to play 7 on the G, 6 on the G, and then we're going to end the song with a chord. But before we end the song with the chord, I'm going to show you the harmony that's overlain over this section. Let's look at the harmony. The harmony for this section starts on 9 on the G string, 11 on the G string, 14 on the G string, 11 on the G string, and then we'll play 9 on the E string twice. And then we're going to play 9 on the G string, 11 on the G string, and 14 on the G string. Back to 11. And then we're going to play 9 on the E string, and 7 on the G string. Then we're going to play 9 on the G string, 11 on the G string, 14 on the G string, 11 on the G string, and then again 9 on the E string twice, and then 9, 11, 14, 11 on the G string, 9 on the E, 7 on the E. Then from 7, we're going to slide up to 10, play 9 on the E string, and then we're going to end the song with the chord. The ending chord is the same chord we've used in several other sections throughout the song, but just to reiterate, it's an open E string, your middle finger on the 9th fret of the A string, index finger on the 7th fret of the D string, ring finger on the 9th fret of the G string, and your pinky on the 10th fret of the B string. And that's the song. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions about anything that I didn't make clear enough, feel free to ask in the comments section or hit us up on Facebook. We'll be happy to clarify for you and help you out. Thanks for watching.